Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. My name is Tom Tobin, president of the club, and we're thrilled to have you join us today. This meeting broadcast is available on HCTV as well as our Rotary of Hudson YouTube channel. Our club meets weekly at Laurel Lake for breakfast on Wednesday mornings from 7:15 to 8:30. Come out and join us for a meeting. We would love to have you as a guest. To learn more about Rotary, our club, and the impact we're having on our local community and the world, visit our website, rotaryhudson.org. Enjoy the meeting today and help us share the message that Rotary connects the world. All right, Ron, take it away.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. Our invocation this morning is by Father Joe Boisel.
Today I'm going to lead us in a prayer from the Book of Common Prayer called In Times of Social Conflict or Distress. Let us pray. Increase, O God, the spirit of neighborliness among us, that in peril we may uphold one another, in suffering tend to one another, in homelessness, loneliness, or exile befriend one another. Grant us brave and enduring hearts, that we may strengthen one another, until the disciplines and testing of these days are ended, and you again give peace in our time. Through your name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. And now to lead us in the pledge and the four-way test, Mike Swain.
Okay, we'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the four-way test of the things we say and do. First, is it the truth?
Is it the truth? Second,
is it fair to
all
all
concerned?
Third, will it build
goodwill and better friendship?
And fourth, will it be
beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. And now our president, Tom Tobin.
Good morning, Rotarians. All right. This, I really do love seeing all your faces each week. This is really great. I thank you all for attending. Let's see. The first thing that we have to do this morning is I want to give you I want to create an opportunity to talk about next week. We have a special meeting. We have our scholarship winner, our scholarship program next week. Might I ask Catherine Sines to just give us a quick update on that?
Good morning, everyone. It's great to see everyone. I just wanted to tell you how excited we are to share the 6 scholarship winners. Ron Strobel, Dan Williams and I met, and we were, I think, 7 feet apart. Dan actually measured it. And even when we got a drink or something, we made sure we were far apart. Going through 21 applications, and they were all amazing. I mean, I can't even explain how we have to go through them, and everybody sees a different viewpoint and a different thing, and how hard it is to go from 21 to 6 when all of them seem deserving. But I don't want to take away from any of the excitement other than to say you'll be excited. It's great to see that we can help out kids, that we actually look at need. We don't just look at grades, Dan and I've worked on that a while, but we actually look at who needs it and their enthusiasm, what they've accomplished, and their service. So I look forward to that next week.
Okay, so it's been just about 2 months now since your board made a decision to suspend having physical club meetings, Wednesday morning physical meetings. I think it's gone pretty well so far. We've had some great speakers. We've learned to use this technology reasonably well. I think the meetings have gone pretty smoothly. I feel like we're being good Marines here. We've learned to improvise, adapt, and overcome the challenge in front of us. But there's one thing that, as several of you have pointed out, is kind of missing, which is an opportunity to kind of hear from each other a little bit more. Unfortunately, I think a lot of times these meetings The Zoom ones have been, me talking and maybe one or two other people talking about some business, and then we have our speaker of the week, and there hasn't been enough of an interaction, hearing enough about our fellow board members, what's going on in their lives, what they're thinking, what they're planning, and giving them an opportunity for each of us to tell them about what's going on in our lives. And a lot of that's handled usually, of course, before the meeting and after the meeting. This week we're gonna improvise, adapt, overcome by making it the meat of the meeting. So this was an idea that George Snyder gave us. I love it. I think he originally saw it as us maybe doing just one or two folks a week, and we may just decide to do that. But this week, we are going to make it the focus of the meeting. And so I have asked about 6 Rotarians to be prepared to tell us a little bit about what's going on in their lives. Now, I gave each of them a list of questions that they might consider as just to kind of get their juices going in their brains about what to talk about, but they don't need to focus on that. They can talk about anything that they would like. We'll give each of them about 5 minutes to talk, and let's see what comes out of it. And then we'll go through each of the 6, one after the other, and then if you can hold off on questions till the end, or as Donna might suggest, questions along the way, if you want to just do them using the chat tool, that would be great as well. So let's start out, if we could, with Father Joe Boisel. If you wouldn't mind unmuting yourself and tell us what's going on. We're checking in with you.
Oh, well, good morning, and good morning to everyone. This, like everybody else, is such a weird time. I'm so sick of the word unprecedented, but there's no other word, is there? I mean, there are the number of words that none of us want to hear anymore. Anything that has to do with coronavirus, all these words are just, I'm so exhausted of hearing them. But indeed, this is an unprecedented time. I can't imagine, having this ever have happened in my own life. I just can't really think of anything that's like it, and how it has disrupted everything. It's disrupted the way that I go about my life, my work, all those sorts of things, and primarily in my family. But the way I still have plenty of work to do. I told somebody, I actually have more work to do now than ever, because I'm sort of on my own. My secretary, I sent her home immediately, and then she decided it was probably time to retire, which is probably a good thing for her. But that I had to handle all the administrative things, and we really were not in a position to hire somebody because I can't even really bring them in and train them or anything like that. So it kind of leaves me in a lurch in a way, but it's certainly understandable. And the staff members all have to, be at home, and they send me some things, and we work from home. But again, it's so disruptive. So I told somebody, I get to the point where, I don't think I'll lose my job. I might not get paid, but I have plenty of things to do, lots of work to do. And so it sort of feels that way. I think the thing that I notice the most, and I don't know, you'd have to frame it everybody in their own mind, whether it's sociological, psychological, in my case, theological, is the sense of human contact and how we sort of take it for granted, and we need it. We need this physical contact to be around people that we don't even know or care to be around, or know what's going on in their lives. To go to a restaurant and eat our dinner where other people are eating their dinner. It seems, as I think about it, in a way, sort of silly, but also sort of so important, so fundamental to what it means to be human. that we really can't live, as Merton says, we're not an island unto ourselves. None of us are. We need each other. We need other human beings. There's this film that was made from a book that was really popular with young people called Into the Wild. And if you ever get a chance to watch the film, it's really worthwhile. This young man decides that graduates from college, and he decides the whole world is phony. And so he decides to take off and go into the world and make his own way. Eventually, he moves away from people until he finds himself in the wilderness in Alaska. And I won't tell you anything more about it than that, but there's this sense, this epiphany that he has about the need for human contact. And I think that's really true. It's so true about my life and what I do. You know, I'm constantly with people, you know, constantly in contact with them, physical close contact, you know, that I can see them, and having a cup of tea with somebody who's shut in their home, or, you know, going out and having a beer with some guys or whatever. These are all things that are normal parts of my life. And then, of course, Sunday ministry of seeing people and actually at the Mass to place in their hand the sacrament, something that they can't do and I can't do right now. Is just, it's startling and shocking because of what seemed like such a very small thing, and that's the sense of human contact. That's quite a bit right there, I guess, Tom. I can't hear you. Tom, you're muted.
No, that is great, Joe. I appreciate that. And by the way, I'll just, you know, ask you, since you mentioned it, I mean, are you interested in referrals for assistance and things like that? I mean, you have a nice little community here of folks who may be
Sure.
a network for you to find somebody good. So
great.
Because I don't want you to get too many paper cuts and things like that, Joe. I don't think that's where your strength really lies.
I'm quite resilient, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
All right, that's great. Now, let's see. And by the way, I'm going to look for that book, and we all should too. Into the Wild. I think that sounds like a great book for these times. May I ask Bill Woldridge to step in next?
Hey,
Bill,
Tom.
there you are.
Tom,
Oh yeah, Rich.
when are we allowed to ask questions?
We'll do that at the end if we could, Rich.
Okay.
And you might, you know, as I said, you might even like put a few of them in the chat section too, if you don't mind.
I did for Joe.
Super. Okay, thank you.
Actually, I'm watching that and breaking in. So let's, Tom, I'm sorry, I don't want to step on this, but Joe just,
No.
oh, your talk was amazing. Rich, can we do some Q&A after each? And then
Yeah, that would be fine.
For everyone. So
That would
Rich,
be
Rich, turn your camera on, please, and just pose your question, and then we'll move to the next panelist.
It was on, but you turned it off.
Right. Well, now you have.
Rich, don't be difficult now. Come on.
I'm gonna stay in the dark, you know.
All right.
I privately chatted Joe, because I didn't think, you know, I didn't know if everybody wanted to see it, that, you know, how we were all running a crazy life and doing this, doing that, maybe a little bit less crazy for the retirees. Here we go. Here comes my invite. All right. See if that works. All right. Can you see me now?
Yes.
I can.
All right. And so we're all going about our lives, running 9 to 6, whatever, and going here, going there, traveling the world. And my message to Joe was that, you know, well, first of all, when he mentioned in his discussion about the need to see people and experience fellowship. I think it says in the Bible, you know, it's great to have a personal relationship with God, but fellowship is so important, and to exclude fellowship either on Sundays or during the week is not really what God wanted. But my question to, you know, this is just my interpretation. My question to Joe is that, do you think this is a message that God's sending, that we're all just kind of out of control? He has a way of, you know, slowing us down and hitting the reset button. And maybe I'm putting you on the spot with that question.
Oh, well, you know, I'm really careful about trying to read the message of what is being said. I would say this: I don't think anything happens by accident. So as a theologian, I would say that certainly this was within the awareness of God. And so theologically speaking, if there's a message that it doesn't often come with a billboard, this is why this is happening. It rather is left to us to discern what's the message that so much of our life can be disrupted by this, and how does that, what do we miss? And why is that important?
Thank you.
Very good. All right. Well, let's move on to Bill Wooldridge. I want to make sure we get to hear from everybody today. Bill, if you wouldn't mind taking the stand.
Well, good morning, everybody in Rotary. It's nice to be with you. Picking up on what Joe said, I very much agree. Missing people or being with people over lunch or in a group meeting of some kind or just having fun with them is probably what has most struck me as the most difficult of this time. We have a close friend who lives out west. I say west of us, Western Ohio, who's coming tomorrow just to visit with us. And it got complicated. I mean, we're going to have a wonderful time. We really love this guy, but you really miss people. You miss people you see every day and do things with and are close to. And that's probably the most difficult aspect of this whole situation. I think a lot of you know that Joe and I are moving out to Laurel Lake, Villa number 22. Those of you at Laurel Lake are well aware of this. I guess the one thing I've learned about moving, it's been 31 years since Joe and I moved into this wonderful house at 100 College Street in Hudson, is that it's absolute chaos. I mean, we had two families we put together in a 4,100 square foot house. And believe me, there are a lot of closets, and on the back of those closets are a lot of stuff. And we've been going through it for a year now. And I have to say that one thing I'm sure of is going to be chaotic. And I think next week is when we're actually going to move. And we've been very fortunate. We've gotten a lot of help and we've had people help us take things over there and so forth. But it is kind of traumatic. It's very difficult for Joe because, so much of what's in the house is hers or her responsibility. So that's probably the biggest thing in our life, that going through this sequestering or quarantining or whatever you want to call it, we being in the most at-risk group, I guess, we are being very careful not to go out a lot. And when we do go out, it's to go to the Acme or the Heinz store, and we put on our masks, and we go during the senior hour. And I discovered that some people in their 20s who think they're seniors, but that's okay, I guess. As we spend a lot of time at home, I think I'm very glad we've signed on to Netflix, because we're doing a lot of Netflix every night when there's not a city council meeting or something like that. In the evening, we're on Netflix, and we've had a lot of fun. Joe loves it because we just spend time together talking about things, and then maybe reading a book and then watching Netflix, which is a good way to spend the evening. The other thing I've learned about, you learn some things about yourself and your family. We have been having fun with our family a couple of times, several times now, doing Zoom, like we're doing this morning. And my granddaughter's very good at setting it up. So we'll get Seattle, we'll get Connecticut, we'll get Hudson, Ohio, and Stowe, Ohio. We'll get us all on the Zoom or the FaceTime or the other one that's WebEx. I've been doing that too. I guess I've learned about how to do WebEx and Zoom, and there's a couple of others I've had to learn. And usually if they have it ready for an idiot like me, I just click on something and here we are. So that works. One of the major concerns I've had about this, being on city council and knowing a lot of people in town, is a very deep personal concern about what's happening to our city, and particularly the merchants and small businesses in our cities. They are really suffering. I mean, these small businesses, the restaurants, we've been getting a lot of 4 or 5 meals a week. I go out to the restaurant. First, I call them up, use my credit card, and sign on with them, and order a meal, and then I go pick it up. And the purpose of this is to try to help them out, but it's also great because we don't have to cook. So we've done, I don't know, about 7 or 8 different restaurants, and it's really kind of fun. We're exhausting the menus now, but getting back to my concern, we have a real problem, as does every town and city in this country, for our small merchants, the restaurants and the small businesses. And if you talk to some of them, you can't really go see them, but you can talk to them. They're really hurting. And so we've been trying on city council to come up with some ways to help them out. We had a utility relief program where they could take some money off of their utility bill if they worked and lived in Hudson. And also Hudson Community Foundation is working on something to try to help out the businesses. But anything any of you can do helping out the businesses, in terms of buying meals, take out meals from the restaurants, you can give them your credit card ahead of time, and then you can go pick it up and they just put it in your front or back seat so you don't have any personal contact with them. But I think it's pretty safe. It really helps out these restaurants. But what I've heard from some of the knowledgeable people in town is that, I say in town, just in the Cleveland area, they don't expect a third of these small businesses to come back. I don't know if that's true, but we'll see what happens. But a lot of them won't make it. So you'll have some vacancy signs, and maybe not so much in Hudson, but all over the country, storefronts that are vacant because these businesses never come back. And it's very, very difficult for them. I guess one other thing is what's difficult is exercise. I've learned how to do a few things at home on the floor and so forth. And the problem is at my age getting back up. But I miss going down to the Summer Fitness facility. And of course it's closed. But exercise is something, at least at my age, I think anybody's age, is a very good thing to do every day. And, I used to see Jim Young down there all the time in summer. And, well, it's closed, so you can't do it. But getting back to the thing that most impacts me is the fact that, well, we just don't have the personal contacts other than through Zoom or WebEx or something. And I really miss that. I miss being with people. It's just my nature. I enjoy it. So, that's kind of our story. We're getting ready to move to Laurel Lake, and believe me, it is chaotic. I think that's enough.
All right. Thanks, Bill. Hey, by the way, I see from the chat thing there, but if you're looking through your closets and you find any 15 or 20 pound hand weights, Doug McDowell could use some. So, okay.
I don't know what that message is about, but
I think he needs to exercise too.
Okay.
Is what he's saying. I'm not saying that. Hey, let's move on to Keith Fears. Keith, if you don't mind unmuting that. Hey, good to see your face, and tell us what's going on in your world.
Well, I don't really seem to have the physical contact issues that most people have been experiencing. Because I work in a bank, we are open every day for servicing our customers. So I get the opportunity to come in, I get to work with my staff. We do see customers on a limited basis, appointment only for about half the day. So I've been kind of blessed with the fact that I haven't had the social isolation that a lot of people have had. But I certainly understand the social isolation because a lot of the people I'm talking to are feeling exactly the same way that everyone has been expressing, just feeling a sense of loneliness, a sense of being disconnected from the community at large. But my life is pretty much, I wake up, eat my breakfast, come to work, go home, so, I mean, all the other things that we used to do, we just really haven't been doing, right now. I've actually probably been busier now than I've ever been at work in a very long time, just because of everything that's been going on here, trying to take care of our customers, training some new staff members. So it's been kind of a crazy time. One of the interesting things is I haven't worn a suit in 2 months. So they're letting us dress casual just to kind of make us a little more comfortable. And I hate to say it, I kind of like it at this point. It's going to be really hard to go back to wearing a suit once we kind of get back to normal business and so forth. One of the things, what I miss the most, I guess, really are two things. First of all, my mom. We moved her into a Cardinal Village in Cuyahoga Falls about a year ago. And as so many facilities are, it's really closed, to the public for visiting unless there's an emergency. So I've talked to my mom practically every day on the phone. I actually got to see her through her window once, but I haven't seen my mom in, I can't even remember now. So that's been kind of hard. I really miss seeing my mom and being able to spend time with her. I know it's been hard on her too. The other thing I miss is getting a haircut. I'm glad they're going to be opening the salons and so forth because, I really miss having a haircut. My wife has offered to cut my hair for me, and she's great at many, many things, but I don't know how good of a stylist she is. And at my age, I want to keep as much of this, as I can at this point. So I do appreciate her offer. You asked about unexpected positives. I think probably just being able to spend more time with my kids. My oldest daughter, went to college this year. She was at Kent State, but she was living on campus. So that was at the beginning, an unusual situation not having her around. But obviously she's back now, has been taking her classes online. And my daughter's been home every day taking her classes online from middle school. So I think, being kind of a doting dad, I love having my kids around. And so it just has given us a lot more time to be together and to do different things. I really don't have any examples of turning lemons into lemonade at this point, and I really have not had the time to read any books. But I think when we're talking about social media and different things, obviously Zoom, I've been doing a couple of different things with Zoom, which has been really kind of a great way of connecting with people that you don't get a chance to see now, but that you miss and that you love being around, like all of you. One of the other things that we did is we got rid of cable. We just went to streaming services. It's saving us about $100 a month off our bill, and we don't really miss all the shows that we want. We're able to get. So that was kind of a neat little technological thing that we did. My wife is working out of the house right now. So between me and her, the time I had, we painted the back bathroom, which is a project that we've been meaning to do for a while. So we were able to get that done. Anything that I've learned that's new about family or friends, really, I think probably the biggest thing I've learned is just how talented my daughters are in art. I knew they were good, but they, some of their free time or things, kind of occupy themselves. They've been drawing and doing some sculpturing with clay and all that, like little clay figures. And they are really, really good. I didn't realize just how good they were until this all happened. So I'm really proud of both of them. And then finally, you asked about a random act of kindness. I actually do have a story. And it happened here at the bank. One of our customers was having a difficulty making a payment, and we see people generally through the drive-through. So this individual was kind of explaining their situation in the drive-through, and somebody in the other lane overheard what was being said by this person and actually offered to help make their loan payment. And we were able to handle that anonymously. It was really a very nice act of kindness on the person's part. They had no idea who this person they were helping was. They just did it, because they were in a position to help. And I think that was, I think that shows, we focus so much on some of the bad things that are out in the community sometimes. Like the news only likes to report the bad news sometimes. But it's so nice to see just the goodness that people have, especially during these times. Their willingness to help somebody else that they don't know, just because they can and they want to do something good for somebody. So that's kind of what's been going on in my life lately.
Thanks for sharing that story, Keith. That's great.
You're welcome.
Okay. The next one I have on the list, Allison Feaster. Allison, would you mind unmuting and telling us what's going on in Allison's world?
Well, do you like my new look? We've been busy. As you know, we've owned TLC for 30 years, our child care center in Hudson. So we've been closed, and of course it's very difficult not to see the kids or have them there, but we want to wait as well as the governor until it's safe. We don't want anything to happen to these precious babies. So we've taken the time to redo floors in the basement and paint the building, and that's something to occupy our time. I'm also a mediator with the Summit County Court of Common Pleas. So I'm busy 3, 4, sometimes 5 days a week doing mediations by Zoom. So I commend Donna because it's not easy. My concern is making sure I don't leave parties in their room because they have to be separated in order to have their privacy. But so far, so good. I also, somebody was asking me before this started, what kind of cases I mediate. And I say everything from auto accidents to wrongful death to employment cases. I had a nursing home wrongful death last week, auto accidents, you name it. I try to help people get their problem solved. And I also do private mediation, so that's kept me very busy. I agree with everybody that it's so hard not to be able to hug or see your family members close. face to face and to hug them. My daughter in LA lives in an apartment, and Bill, who wrote a movie that's on Netflix called The Night, K-N-I-G-H-T, Before Christmas. Her name is Kara Russell. You might check that out. It's a good movie. But she went to the doctor, and it was the first time, she said, in 2 months that she'd actually been touched by another human being. So it is difficult. We're lucky because our daughters and our daughter from Tokyo and her 3 daughters returned safely from Tokyo. They're waiting for their dad to come back, but we get to see them, of course, social distancing. We're also lucky that our other daughter lives only 2 blocks away on Glen Echo. So our exercise is walking from North Hayden to Glen Echo and back numerous times a day. But it's fun, although it's interesting and a little difficult to know that 2-year-olds understand the nasty virus and that they have to maintain social distancing. Grayson, who's 2, will yell social distancing when he sees anybody coming down the street. So it's a part of life. Maybe it's easier for them to handle, but we're fortunate. The last books that I've been reading, Pete the Cat, and this is my favorite, The Wonky Donkey. So I highly recommend those for your reading pleasure. And you can tell we spend a lot of times with the 2-year-old and 4-year-old. You have to get some kinetic sand. For all of you who need to occupy your time, it doesn't dry out, so it's marvelous for therapy, if you will.
We could use it for sculptures.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Allison, good. All right, great.
And you can make use construction vehicles in it, so it's a lot of fun, especially if you're little boys. We're having fun with the 2- and 4-year-old boy. My husband, as you know, Kent, is often seen around town. He's a phys ed, health teacher, coached like Ed Sogan football, and he played college football. So he's always thinking of things for the kids to do. So he sets up our garage, even if it's freezing, with a water table and sand table. He's always bringing out the warm water. So his new thing, he wants a hot water faucet in the garage. That's a necessity now. He's also just ordered, and I want to make sure I get this correct, a Little Tikes Rocky Mountain River Race inflatable slide bouncer. So it has 2 slides, and you can have 350-pound weight on it. So I think he's the one who's going to be using it the most.
I'll be over, Allison.
Yeah, we're going to have parties. You have to take your turn. And lastly, we talked about a household project. So I've been doing what I call estate planning. Like Bill, I walk around my house and I think, okay, we have so much stuff. And I keep hearing and reading about children, grandchildren who don't want our stuff. So my oldest daughter, the creative one in California, saying, Mom, you have to do a story about all your stuff. Give a history. So that's what I've been doing. So I enjoy going to garage sales, tag sales, and picking up unique items. So I bought this, if you can see this, at Den and Mary Rich's house sale when they moved to Laurel Lake. So Den, I think you're on today. Can you tell me if this is from Africa, if you can see it? Well, I'm guessing. So I don't hear a response from him. Maybe
All right.
Jen, you can let me know.
We'll get an answer out of you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And the other thing, as an example that I did with this estate kind of planning, and I've been very successful of getting rid of a lot of stuff, is I actually type a list, take pictures and type a list so there's no fighting. In my estate planning work, I've seen too many families that get upset. They're angry, they don't talk to each other. So this way I'm being very clear who gets what, and they all can pick what they want. But for example, to my 13-year-old granddaughter, Madison, the one who just came back from Tokyo, and if you remember, she got to throw pie in the face of Jim, our banker, Jim McKay, for Fine Day to raise money. So I wrote to my 13-year-old granddaughter, Madison, a Royal Doulton Toby mug, Mr. Litigate, the lawyer, 4 inches tall, from her great-grandmother, Eileen, since Madison wants to become a lawyer, and she was glad that Hillary Clinton did not win the presidency because Madison wants to be the first female president. So that's what I've been doing, keeping busy. I miss you all, but it's so good to see you.
Oh, Allison, that's great. Thank you very much. That's wonderful. And we will get you an answer from Den Rich about that item. All right, let's move along to Jim Young. Jim Young, let's check it in with you. What's going on? You need to unmute. There we go. Good to see your face.
Well, it's good to see you. Like I mentioned to you, it's kind of boring here in my life, but since I sold out, I got rid of all my rental properties last year, and I'm really retired now. And then this downtime at home is really pretty much my life today. Kind of, trying to clean out and do what my wife tells me to do. But after saying that and reading your list, there are a lot of things we miss. The Rotary is on the top of my list. This is great having Zoom, but it's not the same as coming in and seeing everybody in the morning. And, and I'm kind of old fashioned. I like to shake hands with everybody and get a hug from Catherine once in a while. And so I really do miss that. I miss going out, things I guess that I miss, going to lunch with some friends that I normally do every week. Getting together with other parts of my family, even my one son in Cleveland. We talk to him all the time, but I haven't seen him for a couple of weeks, The biggest thing maybe is my not being able to see my grandkids because they're down in North Carolina, and we'd planned to get together at Easter, and that was canceled because of all this. So thank goodness for FaceTime, because we do see them 4 or 5 times a week that way. And like Bill Woolridge, Bill, I feel your pain, particularly getting up off the floor, because I do miss going to SUMA, which we did try to do almost every day. I'm looking forward to that getting started. And Keith said something about a haircut. I'm told some other day I'm going to have to get a ponytail if I don't get to the barbershop pretty soon. But anyway, we talking about exercise. My wife walks every day. She sort of has to because of her back, but I've been walking with her a little bit. And it's interesting to see people that in the neighborhood that you don't normally see or you see in passing. And I find everybody seems to be more friendly now. I don't know what it is. People that you'd walk by before, they were on their cell phone or something or talking to whoever. Now everybody waves and even stop for a second on the other side of the street and have a few words, So that's kind of nice. And one of the things that, one thing that we haven't been going out much at all. Going out is going through the drive-through at the bank, going through the drive-through at the post office, which again is kind of my life anyway. But my wife and I have been on a nice day like today will be, we just drive around a little bit, looking at the flowering trees, they're coming out. And I don't know whether it's because of the cold weather, but the blossoms on the crab apples and the other plants seem to have held on a lot longer. So that was kind of nice to just drive around the neighborhoods and see some things. So basically, I guess that's my life today. Back to you, Tom.
That's great. That's great, Jim. And I want to echo back. I agree with you completely about going out for walks and running into people that you know or you may not know. And I think everyone's starved for conversation. Everyone's being on their extra good behavior and enjoys chatting with you. So I think it's great, and I think you can all do that. We can all do that very safely. I'd say keep a good 10 feet away from each other, but you can have a great conversation with folks and make new friends. All right, let's move on to Evan McCauley. Evan, I see your shining face there. Good morning. Whoops, I'm not hearing you right now for some reason, Evan. Although,
all right, can you hear me now?
Oh, now I can. Yep.
There we go. So I've unmuted myself. Well, thank you, Tom. And I just wanted to mention, one of your questions was turning lemons into lemonade. And I tell you what, Tom, it hasn't been so long since I was president of the club. And from my experience with Rotarians and technology, you know, it's like oil and water sometimes.
Yeah.
But you figured out a way, you and Donna have figured out a way to make oil and water mix, and this is really a special thing that you've put together. So thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Yeah, especially Donna. She stepped up.
So, Mr. Woldridge, good luck with your upcoming move. I am happy to report that I just went through a move recently, so I know all the chaos that you're going to be going through, and I could talk about my move for hours and all the chaos that we went through. But we're happy here in Norton, Ohio, not too far from Barberton and Wadsworth, only about 30 minutes or so from Hudson, and it's a short 10 or 12-minute commute for me to the office in Fairlawn. Speaking of the office, coming to you live from my home office, and it's a very interesting time with my move because right when I first got my home office set up and established, I was planning on working maybe one day or occasionally from home, and kind of smack in the face, I'm working from home always. So this is the same week that I was planning on starting to do a little bit from home. So that's been interesting. Keith, I'm not wearing a suit. I have not worn a suit in months either. I put on a sports coat the other day for a Zoom call, but it was just over top of a golf shirt. So it's been pretty nice, and you know, I do look forward to getting back to going to a meeting with a suit and spending 15 minutes ironing my shirt in the morning. But at some point that will come back. I do just want to mention that I've got my Rotary gear on, including my pin. I was expecting to be fine today, so I just wanted to document that. And a couple other speakers, I haven't been seeing many pins and badges, so I don't know if Fine Master is watching, but if he is, he's taking notes, so keep those badges on. So telling you a little bit about where I'm at, I've got a little more regularity with my meals. I'm eating breakfast every day, which is something that I didn't previously do. My wife, bless her heart, she's a nurse at Akron Children's Hospital, and she works Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So what that means is she's at home with me more. While I'm working, she actually brings me food, makes me food. So I've been eating a lot better here. With the new home, I've had a lot of projects. We painted basically the entire home. We did new carpet upstairs, cleaned crayon markings off the walls, found Barbie dolls in the lawn. So I've been eating better, and because I've got a yard now, I'm forced to do all the yard work. It's something I enjoy, but it definitely is a little bit of a workout, even above and beyond the gym. So for those of you that are looking for something to do at home, go dig a hole and plant a tree, because that'll get you a lot of good exercise.
Yeah.
In terms of what I've read recently, this is a book that I've read previously, but I love it. It's called The Millionaire Next Door. And first quote on this book is, "Why aren't I as wealthy as I should be? Many people ask this question of themselves. Often they are hardworking, well-educated, middle to high income people. Why then are so few affluent?" So it's a very interesting read. Definitely something I would recommend. I've got a couple extra copies, so if you'd like to read it, shoot me a note and I'll send one over. In terms of technology, again, great job with the Zoom here. One thing that I think is amazing is that our society has been forced to really get to the top of the technology frontier, if you will. So, you know, Zoom, DocuSign, all of these things were available to us before, but only really the early adopters in some cases were using this type of technology. And now it's something that very quickly everyone is using. So I am happy to see that. on one end. On the other, I'm a little bit sad because prior to the coronavirus, one question I would ask people, prospective clients, is literally, so do you go into your financial advisor's office to sign paperwork? Because it got me into a question about DocuSign, which let me talk about all the other excellent technology that we're using. So it's been very interesting. Other thing I'll mention quickly on technology is TikTok. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the app TikTok, but I'm not, but Michelle was and is, and she sends me funny videos every single day. So she's cooking for me, sending me funny videos, and bless her heart, she's going into work. She's going into Akron Children's to help save the lives in the operating room of all the kids in the area. And it's been stressful and very interesting to see the changes that have been made at Children's and other places in healthcare. And really what I miss the most now looking at it is strength in our healthcare system. And I want nothing more than Michelle to be comfortable to go to work and know that she has the protective equipment that she needs so that people can keep taking care of us. That's really important. So I'm grateful that I can work from home. I'm grateful that now is a better time in people's minds to talk with financial advisors. People are retiring. The market is volatile, and it's a good time. So even though the market's down, my business is actually growing, and I'm helping a lot of people just like you all on this call. So if you're talking to a friend, or you have a friend that says, hey, what's going on? Are we going to be able to retire now? Things like that. That's what I do, and I very much appreciate your support and send them my way. So the last thing I'll mention is also, if anybody has tips and tricks for planting an avocado, that's my project right now. Cinco de Mayo just passed recently. We had nice guacamole, and I'm very much trying. I know that I'm probably going to fail, but if anybody's planted an avocado successfully, let me know. Tom, back to you.
Evan, I tried to plant a pineapple last year and it didn't work so well. So I'm afraid I don't have to. I think maybe the first move is to, first thing is move to California, but I don't want to suggest that. By the way, I wanted to just mention the movie that was mentioned earlier, because I see that James Field says he saw A Night Before Christmas, and it's a medieval knight is transported to the present day where he falls for a high school science teacher who's disillusioned by love. James, that sounds like it's in your wheelhouse there. Hey, I noticed that also that Phil Warburton wanted to say something to everyone. So Phil, take it away. Phil, you there?
I'm there. I'm here.
All right, put on your camera too, if you don't mind.
There I
you
am.
go.
Can you hear me?
Please. Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. I've got an iPad 108 in front of me.
You're doing fine.
All right. I wanted to let you know that Sally and I have made a decision. We're at the stage of life where we're going to be making some changes, and we're moving to Georgia.
Oh.
And we're moving to near my daughter's place in Roswell, Georgia. She lives in Marietta, and my sister-in-law lives in Marietta also. And my 3 grandchildren live there too. And we just felt that that's what we wanted to do. And we've sold our house in Hudson. First person to walk through it, bought it, paid the full price, which was good.
Good.
We've also looked at a place down in South Carolina, which is being built, and we bought that one. So, and we're packing, you can't see it, but we've got boxes all over the place. And I was very happy yesterday. I had a shredding company come in, and I had them shred 200 pounds of paper. which made me feel very good. Everybody should go through their belongings once a year and purge. So I wanted to let you know it's a sad time for us. It's a time that's necessary, but I love you all, and I'm going to miss you all. And I don't like this virus because it's prohibiting me from seeing people. That's the thing that I don't care for. But I wanted to let you know this is a perfect opportunity I was going to send everybody a note. This is a perfect opportunity for me to state what we're going to do. Thanks a lot, and I love you.
Phil, we're going to miss you. When will you be moving?
We're moving on the 25th of June.
25th of June. Well, Phil, I'm sure we're all going to miss you. The city of Hudson's going to miss you. The members of this club are going to miss you, and I hope you will find your way back from time to time, and you will obviously always be welcome to us. Once we get back to having physical meetings, stopping in, and everyone would love to probably give you a hug and handshake then. So
I would like that.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, folks, do we have any other questions for any of our folks today? Or any comments?
This is
Yeah.
Liz. I'd like to say to Phil, tell Sally I'll miss her.
I will.
Hey, Phil.
I have a question I have a comment for Joe, Father Joe, if I could.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
Hey, Father Joe, we have a special task force, strike force at St. Mary's Church that's responsible for doing hostile takeovers of Anglican churches. I think we can solve the administrative problem very quickly and turn your church into an urban mission for St. Mary's.
Well, perhaps you're unfamiliar with the history, but it's usually we Anglicans who take over your churches.
And I want to make one positive comment. Joe, God has given you a special role in taking care of your flock at your church. And from my personal experience of working with you, you have a very, very good way of working with people. And I'd like us all to acknowledge that. And God bless you for doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Very kind of you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I'll pass it to you, Tom.
Okay, great. Who else did I hear looking for? Rich, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Phil Warburton, you've been an instrumental part of our lives, and we will miss you. And I'll never forget the time I picked you up on the side of the road in the rain, and that's how our relationship started. Phil ran out of gas carrying a gas tank. So that's how Phil and I met, right, Phil?
That's really true.
Bill Waldridge, I think you're right. A lot of businesses will not rebound from what has happened here. And like Joe Boisel said about his secretary retiring, you're seeing more and more people in my business saying enough's enough. And I think that's going to happen with a lot of small businesses. The people that are close to, calling it a day are going to do that from the result of this.
Mimi, I think I see your hand up. Would you like to say something?
Well, this is in particular, I have observed that almost all of you who have spoken this morning have indicated your frustration with not being able to interact directly with people. And I'm thinking about life in a congregate living facility where we can't avoid each other if we're in the hallways. But what happens is, instead of the usual behavior, people suddenly stop in their tracks, put up the hex sign if you get more than 6 feet from them, or everything comes to a halt. There was a huge congregation or traffic jam in the hallway outside our post office because the Postal Service will not wear a mask or allow, well, they're wearing a mask now, but they won't allow their temperature to be taken in order to come into the facility. So we finally got permission from the Postmaster General to have some of us trained to deliver the mail. So the postal crew for the day, which I was supervising, was busy taking mail out of these huge containers and taking them back into our postal station. And there were 2 workmen coming because we're under construction. There was a service person with trash collected from the apartments. they're standing, 12 feet apart. There's 3 of us trying to juggle the mail and a resident trying to pass, and everybody's just standing there because they don't know which to go first without passing that 6-foot different distance. And so here you are with a facility that has almost 500 people. We're separated by zones. We can't cross over the boundary to the next zone.
Oh.
But we are also not able to interact, even though you're almost face to face, behind your mask. And for a community that is used to living together, we have all kinds of policies in place right now to keep us from being together. Yeah. If you don't, that has been extremely frustrating for what we're beginning to call the inmates, because they're used to doing things as a community, and we've had to create a whole series of institutions, new institutions for this place to keep us functional.
Yes.
So it's a very stark difference from what I'm hearing, where you're actually able and have to isolate yourself at home. At home here might mean opening your apartment door at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, putting your chair in the doorway, grabbing your wine, and yelling across and up and down the hall to your colleagues. So it's just a very different reality, which has its own challenges. And oh, by the way, when you move in, Monsieur Wooldridge, you have to remember to tell the restaurant to deliver it to the front gate, because if you leave, you'll be isolated for 14 days. So you want them to deliver your food. You don't want to go get it.
Bill, you're going to learn all these rookie things too. Never look Mimi directly in the eye or anything like that. There's all sorts of cultural rules that you need to learn. Hey, well, folks, I'm going to cut the. Oh yeah, please.
Can I get in here just real quick?
Yeah, Joe.
And I just wanted to say how much personally I appreciate Phil Warburton. Not only has he been a parishioner of mine, he and Sally. He's the reason I'm in Rotary today, probably the reason I'm in Hudson today. More than just a friend, the Warburtons are family to Abby and me, and so I'm going to miss them probably even more than any of y'all here. So
thank you, Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. That's nice.
And I have one more comment.
Go ahead, Liz.
To Rich Warfield, I guess I agree that we need to come. I think it's a message that we need to come closer to Christ and what's going on, because God is in control. So that's what I'm saying.
Well, my message is for you all, get outside today, take a walk. Yeah. It's a beautiful day. I'll see Dan and Lori Williams out there when I'm out walking, and Dan I saw him the other day. He was measuring how wide the sidewalks were so he could figure out.
And it's just a little under 6 feet.
For a safe passing distance. So be nice to each other, be kind to others, be open, be friendly. Yeah,
Tom,
go ahead, Jim.
I sent a quick chat to everybody, but anyways, Phil is the reason why I've joined Rotary. Phil, thanks a lot. I've known you many, many years, and still owe you a golf game.
I know.
And by the way, I have 2 daughters that live one in Sandy Springs and one in Marietta. You need to please exchange your new contact information, or if it's changed, please get it to me so I can look you up.
I'll get it to everybody.
All right.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, thank you all. I think that's it for today. We don't want to go any longer. We will see you all next week, and have a great day. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.